What's up, guys? We are back with another Star Wars Black Series review, taking a look at two more of the recent Walmart exclusive Clone Wars figures because, like I said in the Super Commando review, I don't have all four yet. We're taking a look at the other two that I've gotten a hold of, and they definitely go together. We're taking a look at the new Clone Wars Ahsoka and the 332nd Clone Trooper from, of course, the final season. So I'm really excited to take a look at these guys. I'm a big fan of Clone Wars stuff to begin with, a big fan of Ahsoka. I like the first figure. This figure looks to be very much just as good, if not better, and I'm always down for more clones. So we've got these guys here in our new standard style packages. You've got kind of the offset angled box design figure in the window. These, of course, have got the yellow motif because they're Clone Wars. You've got artwork down the spine, and then these, of course, both have numbers on the back. Ahsoka is 2, the clone is 3, and then there's a little bit of a bio and more of their artwork on the back side. So let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars, and we've got our 332nd Clone Troopers, of course, Ahsoka's clones based on the helmet paint, obviously. So I've really been looking forward to both of these figures, just based on the fact that, well, I'm a sucker for clones, I'm a sucker for Phase 2 clones, and I've really been wanting a different Ahsoka figure. I've just wanted a younger version, and I think a lot of folks are there with me that ideally, it would have been nice to have gotten the younger version first, but I'm really happy that we finally got this version now. If we're going to get one younger version, I'm happy that it's this one, although I'd still be in the market for a much younger version of Snips here. So let's get started, see what these guys can do. They're very different figures, so we're going to take a look at them individually, and we're going to start with Ahsoka. So as far as moving her around, she is very, very similar to the previous figure. There is some parts reuse here, not tons, but there is a decent amount. Basically the entire, well, I guess the entire bottom half of the figure is reused. So let's see what she can do. We've got a head that can look up a little bit, not too much because, you know, her Montrals kind of prohibit that just because it's a big flat piece that hits her back. She can look down decently enough. There is some tilt side to side, pretty good actually. And then you've got rotation. She goes basically as far as you really need her to go, but she can't go full 360 without like picking things up and kind of moving them around. So they are going to get in the way, but it's probably not that big a deal. The arms go out at the shoulders. They of course rotate. There is a little bit of a butterfly joint in here, and honestly I'm not sure why. Well, we've got a flying lightsaber hilt now. We'll save that for later. And I'm not sure why, because it really doesn't do a whole lot. It's very, very small. You've got a single jointed, more than 90 rotating elbow, and then you've got your hinges, and you've got rotation at the wrists. She's very standard female Black Series. You've got your diaphragm cut, so she goes all the way over. If you go too far back, you will see a bit of a gap there. Side to side really well, and then full rotation, of course. Legs go out only about that far. They kick forward all the way, yeah, about all the way. They kick backwards a good bit. There is a thigh cut up there. You've got your double jointed knees. Mine are a tad on the loose side. They're not so loose that she's unstable, but they are a little bit loose. And then you've got a slight bit of rocker and hinge down at those ankles. These are, of course, the reuse from the previous figure, so she's got kind of the flared leg guards, so they do get in the way a little bit, and you can kind of like hook the hinge on the top of this sometimes, so you got to kind of push it back in at certain points. It's probably not the biggest of deals, but just maybe a thing to keep an eye on. Otherwise, though, you know, she moves well enough. She's not the most dynamic figure because she definitely is based on that older figure, but at the same time, I haven't had any true issues getting her into dynamic enough poses. Now, as far as the aesthetics, I'm really happy with this figure, though. She is slightly encumbered when it comes to moving her around, but I expected that based on her construction, really. But the way she looks is pretty great. I'm very happy with this. It's nice to have a really different version of Ahsoka from that previous figure that we got. And this is a very unique look, a very specific look for her. So again, there is some parts reuse going on here. The legs are all parts reuse, and then you've got the black pants with the gray boots down here. She does have her kind of, you know, belt skirt piece here, which I do think looks really good. Nice amount of paint on it. The line work is really well done. She does have holes in this for her lightsabers. I mean, one popped out, and that's honestly the only time that has happened since I've messed around with her. go figure. So you can pop her hilts onto her skirt piece, and they do normally stay there pretty good. We've got her gauntlets up here with kind of like her little control panels, which are painted really nicely. Little bits of fine detail on those on both sides. And then she has her kind of wrist guards up there on the top of her hands as well. The big thing, though, I mean, really, is just the fact that this is a different version of Ahsoka, and it is strikingly different. They are a very different period of time, and just an entirely different look. And I think they made the right choice when it comes to going this route by making this particular set very focused on the end of Clone Wars, and it works really well as far as an action figure goes. She's not a little kid, but she's not, you know, old yet either. And I think a lot of that comes through in this head sculpt because it's really well done. It does have a bit of a sheen to it, which is a little bit more than I'm used to seeing with Black Series, but at the same time, I'm not all that beat up about it. The face paint on it is super clean and crisp. She's got a little bit of a smirk and kind of a scowl going, so she has a somewhat neutral expression while at the same time having a little bit of character to it. And then her montrals are really well done. They, of course, are different from the previous figure, so they're not fully grown, really. And you've got nice line work on here. The sculpt on it is really well done. It does, of course, get in the way a little bit of her articulation, but not in the sense that it's truly bothersome. It's just another piece of plastic to sort of move out of the way. But I think the head sculpt is the defining characteristic of this figure. I mean, it's obviously something that your attention is drawn to, but they did a really, really good job as far as paint application goes and overall capturing that cartoon likeness while not going super realistic or being super cartoony at the same time. And then why not? Here's a quick comparison between our new Ahsoka and, well, this isn't the old Ahsoka. This is the new photo real Ahsoka that we recently got, but it's the same thing. And I don't know where I put that old one. She's in a box somewhere. So yeah, there's not a great deal to compare to. I mean, you can probably see if I, tilt the camera down, those are the same legs, those are the same feet, all that good stuff. But as far as the figures themselves go, they are incredibly different. Construction-wise, they are very similar, but as far as overall design, colors, era, everything, face, all of that stuff, it's all very different. So you just got an idea of what we've gotten new versus what the original one looked like. Of course, she does have a few upgrades on her as far as the photo reel, but they are two different versions of the same character. So not a lot to compare to, but it's cool to see them next to each other. And frankly, I'd like to see another younger one, a little kid Ahsoka, maybe right around here one day. Now, as far as our clone trooper goes, this guy is more of that new clone goodness. So we've got the Kamino clone, basically, just with a different coat of paint. So if you've got that guy, you know what's going on here, and it's mostly a good thing. So let's see what he can do. We've got a head that looks up a little bit. It's an independently articulated neck and head, so he can kind of swivel and bobble at the neck. And then he looks up, he looks down, tilt side to side in full rotation, of course. We've got our arms that go out at the shoulders. You've got that rubbery shoulder pad piece that's connected at the top of the bicep, so it gets out of the way really well. Full rotation, and you've got your butterfly joint. It's not the best, but it does help a little bit. We've got our rotating single jointed elbow. So it kind of rotates at the bottom of the bicep, basically. And then you've got really good range here as far as just being able to work with the arm. It's so much better than what they used to be. And then you've got your wrist rotation and hinge. Diaphragm cut up here as usual, so bobbles all the way around. Good range of motion. The legs at the hips are the area that still have the problem just because of the design of the figure. So if you want to kick forward, I mean, that's pretty much all he does. You've got to sort of move his leg out of his own way, basically, and he can kick a little bit better. Legs go out about that far if, again, you kind of rotate at the same time. And then you've got a little bit of kick backwards. Thigh cut is hidden by that armor piece. And then you've got our new single jointed rotating knee, which honestly I'm warming up to. It's still not the best as far as range, but it looks so much better and it's a lot more fluid to work with. It's just a little bit easier. And then you've got your hinges and you've got rocker down at those ankles. So pretty good range of motion on this guy. I mean, if anything, the new construction on the troopers is just for like a quality of life, really. They're easier to move, they're easier to pose. They may not have the best range of motion, especially compared to, I don't know, a lot of other figures in various other lines, but they're so much easier to work with than the older bodies. So while they aren't drastically more agile than the older figures, they're so much easier to work with, and I am very, very much happy with that. Now aesthetically, this guy is very much familiar territory as well because, again, it's that same clone that we've just gotten recently, but that's a good thing because I'm a fan of that construction. I think it looks pretty good. It's not exactly perfect, but at the same time, it's so much better than the stuff we gotten previously. So it's an upgrade all around, and I'm a big fan of 501st clones, and of course that is what this is, the 332nd company within the 501st. So we've got a pretty awesome design here. I just like the blue and the white when it comes to troopers and clones, and this works really well. So you've got the kind of battle-worn line work that runs down the side of the legs on the knee pads, and then you've got the big stripe down the chest. Nothing to speak of on the back except a little bit of kind of greebling detail there. And then you got the blue shoulder pads, which again are that rubbery material, which does work really well as far as articulation. So he's a mostly just white clone trooper with, well, a phase 2 clone trooper with the blue accents, but they are really cleanly applied. Like, I have no issues with any of this paint detail. It's nothing major, and it's certainly nothing too extravagant, but at the same time, it accomplishes what it's supposed to accomplish. The big draw for this figure is undoubtedly the head sculpt and the head paint, the helmet paint. And this is, again, just like that Kamino clone, one of the clones that has the head underneath there. So you've got actual plastic underneath there as far as like a clone trooper head. I still don't really understand why they went the route of doing that. You know, I'm not really sure what the reasoning is. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm all about keeping the helmets on them, whether they could possibly come off or not. So yeah, this is a good helmet. Again, it's the Phase 2 clone, which is my favorite clone trooper variant out of all of them. I love this helmet design. It's always been my favorite. And I like the idea behind them painting up their helmets like Ahsoka. So you've got that big shock of orange all over the helmet. It's really crisp and clean. I mean, it's supposed to be slightly jagged and, of course, you know, kind of hand painted. So it's got that look to it, but it's really nicely done. Everything is very even and crisp, and it looks fantastic. It's a very shocking comparison as far as the white on the helmet to that orange, and then of course orange and blue are complementary colors, so it works really well just to kind of bring the whole figure together. So solid design on the figure, great paint applications, my favorite clone trooper variant. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Now, as far as accessories goes, there are really no surprises when it comes to this set. They have exactly what you think they're going to have. So our clones have 2 guns each. They each come with the standard clone blaster, which we've seen time and time again. We've actually gotten quite a few of these recently if you've been keeping up with all the releases. And then we've got the heavy blaster as well. No paint on any of it, just straight black plastic. But again, it's the same thing we've seen for years and years and years now. But it's perfectly fine. It works well for both of them. It's exactly what they should have as far as kind of a base accessory set. Now, as far as Ahsoka goes, she has her 2 lightsabers, and she's got blue blades for this release. You know, her older release, which is her older version, has the white blades. So she's got one that's longer and one that is shorter. And as you saw earlier, you can put the hilts onto her costume here on her outfit. She has peg holes for it, and there's pegs on the side. They actually stay on there really, really well. So you've got 2 options here as far as sabers to use. The short one, the long one, both, whatever you want to do. You've got silver hilts, not a whole lot of paint on them as far as little detail. The red ignition switch is basically it. And then you've got the blades. What's interesting though, and maybe this is something I haven't paid attention to recently, is that these actually peg in a way that they almost kind of key in. So they really only go in one way, and they seem to be a little bit sturdier because of that as well. It's not the greatest thing in terms of changes when it comes to Star Wars figures, but it's a nice thing because they don't really want to pop out or bend really easily either. They are very much just in there. So nothing too crazy when it comes to accessories, but ultimately both of these figures have exactly what they need. So overall, this is another couple of winning figures from this Walmart exclusive wave. Again, the only real problem that I have with these figures is that they're Walmart exclusives, and they are not the easiest thing to find. Granted, I've had some good luck early on, but I'm not so sure how long these things are going to last out there. This Ahsoka is a great new entry in the Clone Wars line. I'm really happy to finally get a younger version, and this version is definitely one that is kind of fresh in folks' minds, so it's a good idea to have thrown this one out. And then, of course, these clone troopers. I'm always down for more clones, always down for more Phase 2 clones, and this is more of that new clone body that, frankly, I am still quite very happy with. I would love them to keep doing this. bathe me in Clone Troopers while they are hot right now, please. So yeah, if you can get your hands on these, I would urge you to. And really, you probably need 2 clones because she just looks good with 2 of them around her. So that's going to do it for this look at the Walmart exclusive Star Wars Black Series 332nd Clone Trooper and Ahsoka Tano. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.